In my 20s, I thought if I make it to 30 as a wrestler, it would be awesome. In my 30s, I thought this is going to end soon and I'm going to give it everything every single night. Now in my 40s, I'm a little bit more economical with my movements.
Are there moves you don't do anymore?
I still do all the stuff that I could do in my 20s, but when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was wrestling for me. Now I'm wrestling for the audience.
Have you watched back winning the Universal Championship?
No, I don't like seeing it.
Did you immediately know that your shoulder had popped out?
Oh yeah.
In that match, what kind of pain are you in?
No pain, but I knew there was a big issue. I don't know if I've ever told this story, and I'm not sure if I should, but...
Were we ever close to getting the Demon versus the Fiend?
Yeah, that was in the works. I've been very lucky to have had almost every match that I've ever wanted. That's one that I didn't get to have.
When you close your eyes, what's the moment you think of?
In wrestling, there's two moments. One was in Belfast against Punk. The reaction from the crowd that night.
Why does it make you emotional?
Sometimes you think you've done it all and it's never going to get better. And then it somehow did.
What do you think's your greatest feud in your career?
Damn, that's a good question.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
It has been. We had a very brief conversation maybe 3 years ago.
It feels like longer.
It feels like forever.
Yeah, I think it was at like a WrestleMania, like
SummerSlam, something like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd probably done 400 interviews that day. We popped in for 3 minutes or something like that. So I'm glad we get to chat with you for a little bit longer today.
Yeah, me too.
It was cool when you reposted this photo that I posted of you in 2016 and you in 2026. And I said that the photos look like they were like 12 minutes apart. Like you haven't aged.
Well, let me tell you, those 10 years have been a lot. And I've done a lot.
You've done a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it. You look the same.
Well, thank you. I guess.
What's the secret to not aging?
Consistency, I think. Like I just do the same stuff every day. Like nutrition's the same, training's pretty much the same, and try to live like a stress-free life. And I'm happy. Like, I'm doing what I love. And
I think that's the big thing.
You know? So what more, like, I think aging is probably mainly down to like stress. And like, I can't imagine anything worse than the stress of going to a job every day that you hate. So I love my job for the last 25 years. So I'm very, very lucky.
Have you worked a quote unquote real job?
Oh yeah.
Ever?
Yeah. I started my first job. I was 16. I worked at a cleaning contracting company where, floor buffers.
Yes.
So my uncle worked at the maintenance department and that. So he got me a job in there where all the floor buffers that were broken, they get broken a lot because like people buff over the cable and they cut the cable. So I would have to like replace the cables and like do like troubleshoot all the electrics in it. Of course, I electrocuted myself, which in Europe is like 220 voltage, so that hurt. From there, I got a job at Tesco's, which is a supermarket like Walmart or something.
Yeah.
And from there, I worked in the family business, which is the railway in Ireland. So all my family work on the railway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I sold train tickets, done like the announcements for the trains. Ladies and gentlemen, the next train to Belfast is at 11 o'clock on platform 2. Please board in 10 minutes.
When did wrestling become your full-time job?
Became full-time when I was 24.
Okay.
Yeah, so for the first 6 years, I was kind of like dipping in and out between jobs and wrestling. And I was very lucky that when I was working in the railway, because my dad worked there too, a lot of people kind of understood that I had this wrestling passion, and they kind of were very flexible with giving me some days off and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful to the guys that I worked with, and I still keep in touch with them.
Was it also free train tickets to go wherever you needed to go?
Yeah, and actually you could take free train tickets all around Europe.
Oh, that's great.
You know, and then there was also like a certain amount of passes that you could take the ferry, which is like from Ireland to England. So like I could travel from Ireland to England and then take the train and then go to training pretty much for free. So that's how I was able to kind of fund my training, you know.
You had a one-word caption on that photo. It was consistency. And you talked about it's like eating right, and it's like putting in the work and all of those different things. What's a day of eating look like for you?
Right now, so like there's this huge belief that like I'm a no carbs guy, and I was for a long time from like 2010 when I met one of my good friends, John Anderson, who I wrestle with in New Japan. He said, brother, you got to go on no carbs if you want to take it to the next level. So I went on no carbs from like 2010 till about 2022.
No carbs?
Pretty
What were you
much,
using
pretty
for
much
energy?
keto, pretty much keto.
Okay, so
yeah,
fats.
Yeah. And then, so I was doing that for a long time. And then myself and Chad Gable are best buddies. And I think we were in like the run up to a Mania or something. And, everyone's doing this Mania prep every year, And I just would always do everything the same all the time. Like
You're like, I'm always shredded.
like, I don't get ready, I stay ready. That's the quote,
Sure.
But, and he said, dude, just add in some carbs. Maybe add in like a carb, like drink in your workout. So that was like the beginning of me like reintroducing carbs.
That was the gateway carb.
Yeah. And so probably for the last 2 years, I'm pretty much like on a regular diet, I would say. So breakfast would be like 3 full eggs, half an avocado, either some Greek yogurt and berries or some cottage cheese. Then hopefully 2 hours later, I'll work out. Pre-workout will be like beetroot juice or pomegranate juice with some honey. I'll work out. After the workout, I'll have a shake and a banana. Then within an hour, I'll have like either a piece of chicken and rice or a piece of fish and rice. And then that will repeat again about 2.5 hours later. And then before bed, I'll have some Greek yogurt again with berries, and that'll be it.
Are you traveling with these meals?
Well, that's ideally at home.
Sure.
When I'm traveling, it's pretty close to that. I would travel with the meals. But also, I think what's helped, especially like the last year, is the schedule has reduced on the road. So we're not like consistently on the road like 4 days a week. So it's been a little bit easier to like dial it in again.
When you talk about having less stress, though,
Yeah.
or having no stress because you're working a job that you love,
Yeah.
your sleep is all over the place. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes it's on a plane, sometimes it's not really much at all.
Yeah.
That's got to factor into all this.
That's the biggest obstacle for sure. And especially for me, I struggle with like coming down from the adrenaline buzz after the shows. So like, even if, the show finishes at 10, like I might not sleep till 4.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the problem then is I might have like a 6 a.m. flight.
Yeah.
So like then there's no sleep.
So what are you doing to wind down in those hours?
I watch YouTube. Yeah, I got
What's the go-to on YouTube?
Ancient Architects is my favorite YouTube page. It's all about like ancient Egypt and ancient structures and how they were built and possible theories on how they were built. And I find that fascinating.
I find that stuff fascinating too.
Yeah.
Like, why do we still not know?
I know, it's a mystery.
Or like the fact that when they found the Sphinx, it was like covered in like mud and they just saw like the top of it and they had to like dig it out.
Yeah.
Like, that stuff's fascinating.
Yeah, and what's still under all that sand that's in the Sahara too? It could be a lost civilization. Who knows?
I know. I think
Yeah.
about it all the
I
time.
know. And like I like to kind of like think about wild, wacky theories, but I always kind of go back to like the mainstream narrative because just so much evidence, so much study being done, so much research being done that probably the mainstream belief is closer to the actual history, I believe.
But it's crazy that we don't like definitively know.
What's crazy to me is that like we think that human civilization is this, like we started off with sticks and stones making a fire, and then we slowly went up and up and up into cars and automobiles and airplanes and now iPhones and FaceTime, where it's been like this,
Yeah.
Because like we built the biggest structures on Earth like 4,000 years ago. It's bananas.
Yeah.
And like how they moved those stones, how they cut those stones so precisely, how they aligned it like the true north. It's insane.
And stones that were coming from quarries that were
Yeah,
thousands
500
of miles
miles
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff's wild to me.
Yeah.
That could
Listen,
be
I can talk about this for 4 hours.
I could talk about it for 44 hours.
Yeah.
That stuff's so interesting to me. And I think about that a lot with the movies I watch too. I just love the idea of like, you see a movie, it makes you just think. And you and I connect on Interstellar.
It's a great movie.
love that movie so much.
Yeah.
When they come back from the water planet and Cooper, Matthew McConaughey's character, is watching his kids grow up, it's like gets me every time.
Yeah.
Especially now that I'm a dad, I'm like, oh man, I'm probably going to start crying thinking about it.
Yeah.
That movie is just absolutely brilliant. Why does it resonate so much with you?
Yeah. I just like thinking of the possibility of the future. I'm like, what's possible? And I've been very lucky to like have experienced a lot here on Earth. And I used to always say, like, if I had an opportunity to go to space on a one-way ticket, like, I'd take it.
On a one-way ticket?
On a one-way, yeah. But that was before I was married, and I'd come back now. Actually, she wouldn't let me go.
Well, maybe you could bring her with you.
Yeah.
Did she go?
No. She's very happy here on Earth.
Makes sense. How do you feel like being married has changed you?
It certainly made me more calm, more relaxed, and more fulfilled and more happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something about doing all of this in life with somebody by your side.
Yeah. And, you know, what we do, like we travel so much, and then going home to like your person is so beautiful, you know. And a lot of times when I'd be on the road, you know, sometimes we'd be on the road 2-3 weeks at a time, and then I'd be going home. And like, you don't really feel home because it's just a couch and a TV, you know. But when I go home and she's there, it's like just resets me completely. So anytime, even if I get an opportunity to go home for like 22 hours, like I'd fly back from Europe just to see her and fly back just to reset, you know.
How do you feel like your approach to wrestling has changed, or your mindset about wrestling has changed in your 20s, your 30s, and now your 40s?
20s was like you're scratching and clawing and you're chasing and you're like, oh my God, but you don't really feel like you belong, and you feel like everyone's like, what's this little kid doing here? In the 30s, it was like, all right, this is going to end soon. I'm going to burn the back axle out of this. And like similar to like what JD was saying when he was on here, it's like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it everything every single night. I don't care about what happens tomorrow. Now in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little bit more economical with my movements and my moves. And I feel like I've been very lucky to have learned from some incredible people who taught me some skills, not necessarily like physical skills, like or techniques, but like a mindset that can prolong my career. And I always tell a story about when I went to the Performance Center, when I started with NXT, I think I was 34, which was quite late to start. And, you know, WWE had came knocking a couple times, and I'd always kind of kicked it back because I was very happy in New Japan. Wanted to do my whole career there. And I was trying to negotiate a 10-year contract. And there was an issue. This was when I was 34. I was trying to negotiate a 10-year contract to stay there for the rest of my life.
That would take you to right about now.
I know.
Wow.
And there was an issue because New Japan was owned by another company. And that contract only lasted for 4 years. So they could only give me a 4-year contract. And I'd been there like 8 years, and I'd seen how when guys got to like their mid to late 30s, they'd kind of like phase them out. I thought, well, this will get me to my mid to late 30s, and I'll be phased out. And I want to wrestle longer than that. And I'm 34, and this is, 12 years ago in WWE, where the roster was a lot younger. They were signing much younger guys. And I thought, oh, this could be my last opportunity. So that's kind of the mindset I had. And I was talking with my dad about, the decision. Should I roll the dice in WWE, or should I stay in New Japan? I always forget my dad, or I never forget my dad said, son, you grew up watching WWF. Like, that was your dream. Like, you're in Japan, you're doing great. You've done it for 8 years, but like, roll the dice. And I'm glad I did.
If you were thinking in your 30s about, I can't do this forever, is that still in your mind now?
In my 20s, I thought if I make it to 30, it would be awesome.
As a wrestler?
As a wrestler, yeah. And in life, I guess.
Come on.
And then in my 30s, I thought, well, 40, that'll be really incredible. Right now, I feel better now than I did in my early 30s. And going back to what I was saying earlier about signing with NXT, a lot of people were like, of the opinion of, hey, he's like an experienced guy. He knows exactly what he's doing in the ring. Like, why is he in NXT? He's wasting his time in NXT. And, you hear this so much, and I started to maybe believe it as well. And I was like, why am I in this like performance center doing like roll after roll and leapfrog after drop down and like running these drills? I just wrestled Ibushi in front of 42,000 people at the Tokyo Dome like 4 weeks ago, right? And now I'm in the performance center in a factory doing drills with kids who've never wrestled. And this was going on for about 3 months, to the point where like I was, you know, I think I showed up one Monday morning at 8 a.m. for practice. And Terry Taylor was my coach, who I cannot speak more highly about. He's absolutely incredible. And I said, Terry, I don't want to be here. I feel like I'm just wasting my career. Like I'm 34. Like I need to be wrestling. Like, and he said, Finn, I'm teaching you a style that you can perform for another 10 years. If you continue wrestling the way you've been wrestling in New Japan, you'll last about 2 more years. And I want you to last longer than that. So he was very instrumental in like kind of helping me tweak my style to be more economical with my movements, with my moves, and really to go from being a good wrestler to being a star. And that's the person who I credit with that. And he taught me so much. I cannot speak more highly about Terry Taylor.
Are there moves you don't do anymore that you used to do?
Oh, of course, but and nothing substantial. Like I still do all the stuff that I could do in my 20s, but now I do moves that the crowd react to. I don't do moves for me. When I was in my 20s and 30s, I was wrestling for me. Now I'm wrestling for the audience. And like, I feel like that's kind of a really important thing for younger wrestlers coming up, that they should learn that we're wrestling for other people. It's not like that are paying their money to watch us to be entertained. And you know they're being entertained when they're making noise and they're reacting. And if they're not reacting, it's because they're not liking the wrestling you're doing. It's not necessarily that it's bad wrestling. It's just they don't relate to it. And if I love technical wrestling, and that's where I made my bread and butter in England and Japan. Yeah. But kids don't understand that. And we need to kind of appeal to the masses. And that's kind of how I tried to like formulate my matches now. It's like, no, will this get a reaction? Will it get a boo or a yay or a ah or a But it needs like an emotion attached to it. It can't be just like, oh, holy shit, that was awesome. Yeah. So like, I'm not into the like the Fast and the Furious, like action explosion match. I'm into like the drama, the like, you know, so that's kind of what I more gravitate to now.
If the milestones were get to 30, get to 40, is it now get to 50?
Now it's just get to having fun and make sure that I don't want to overstay my welcome. I still feel pretty good. I don't feel like I've slowed down too much.
You haven't slowed down at all. What are you talking about?
Well, I don't know, because I don't watch my matches back because I cringe so much.
You don't ever watch them back?
I like, unless it's like really bad, like that in the moments that like I didn't enjoy it in the ring and like I didn't feel like the crowd were reacting to it in the proper way, like I'll watch it back to see.
Hold on, you only watch your bad matches back?
Yeah. Well, like, why ruin a memory, right? Because I've lived it, I've experienced it, I've like felt the people.
Yeah.
And like, if I watch it back, I'm only gonna nitpick it apart and like go, oh, it wasn't as good as I remember. So maybe like, you know, in 20 years when I'm all done, I'll go and watch things back. But like just getting to live it and experience it, I think is much more beautiful than like just watching it on a TV. And like, really the worst way to enjoy any sport is like on a little TV, or now mostly people watching on a phone, right? So like I don't think anything beats like that, like live experience and like that energy in the building that night.
Starting a business is exciting and also challenging, but Shopify makes it simple with everything you need to launch included from day one. Shopify is actually where I host CVVmerch.com, my website where you can buy these awesome t-shirts
and micro brawlers. I still can't believe that I have a micro brawler. Getting started is so easy. Shopify's templates and tools can help you create a beautiful site in no time, and there's no coding required. Once your site's live, Shopify Checkout can help turn more visitors into customers with a fast, seamless buying experience, while returning customers can check out with just one click. While Shopify is taking care of the heavy lifting, you can spend less time worrying about setup and checkout and spend more time focused on growing your business. And as you grow, Shopify grows with you, and the tools to support you are there at every step of the way. It's no wonder millions of businesses around the world choose Shopify. All you need is the idea, and Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/insight. That's shopify.com/insight.
Have you watched back winning the Universal Championship?
No.
You've never watched that match?
No, and you know what? I get like tagged in tweets like daily of like that spot, and like I'll like scroll away before I hit the wall. Like I don't like seeing it.
You don't like seeing it because it brings back a memory?
It's just like, why dwell on the past? Like you should be looking forward. Like you can't change the past. Like it happened, so what? Like,
did you immediately know that your shoulder had popped out?
oh yeah.
Because you can see the look on your face, and then you go to put your shoulder back in like this has come out before. Had you dislocated your shoulder before?
I had like subluxated my shoulder a couple times before. I'm not sure if it was the same one when I was wrestling like really early on, like in like maybe I was like 19, so probably like 2001. I tried to do like this, you know, the tiger mask flip where like the guy would be in the corner and he'd step up and flip over.
Yes.
And I used to be able to do that a long time ago. And but I done it to this guy that was wearing a shirt. And his shirt like slipped as I was basing off it. So like as I was coming back, I landed on my shoulder and it like my hand and it like over rotated and popped out. And instinctively, I just grabbed the wrist and pulled, and I felt it pop back in. So that happened. That had happened maybe 2 or 3 times then in the next 2 or 3 months, obviously because it didn't like heal properly. But then no, it had been fine for 10, 15 years, and then. Yeah, I hit the wall, and rest is history, I guess, right?
When you won that match, in that match, on a scale of 1 to 10, what kind of pain are you in?
No pain, but I knew there was a big issue, and it had actually came out like 3 more times in the match, because like anytime I lifted my arm to hit the ropes, it came out. I remember I got whipped to the buckle one time, it came out, so... And I don't know if I've ever told this story, and I'm not sure if I should, but I remember at one point in the match, so me and Seth, I was very lucky to be in there with Seth when it happened, because Seth is an absolute pro, and we were able to communicate, and I was able to tell him, hey, I'm hurt. So we were kind of like calling the match on the fly and editing spots and changing spots and talking the whole time. So the match that we'd done wasn't actually the match that we'd like laid out.
That's still such a great match.
Yeah, and I must give Seth credit, because there was a point in the ring, we were outside the ring, and I was rolling him back into the ring, and I said, dude, I'm hurt. I don't think I'm gonna be wrestling for a while. Like, do you want to switch to finish? And he said, no, stick to the plan. And I just rolled him back in, and we stuck to the plan. And I often think, like, I wonder what that would have done for my career if we had a switch to finish.
In what way?
Well, we're still talking about this 10 years later, right? And everywhere I go, every interview I do, I get the question, hey, what would have happened if you hadn't got injured? Because you were the champ. But if I'd have got injured and lost and just went away for 9 months, there'd be no like sympathy from the fans. There'd be no what ifs. There'd be no.
Well, it's not even sympathy. It's respect. It's like that guy was injured and still went through and still won the match. And it's like there's a lesson, I think, there of like, even if things are difficult, you push through and you do it.
Yeah, and like similar to what JD was saying on here about like you kind of compartmentalize when an injury happens, and like you don't think about okay, there's still whatever 18 minutes left in the match. I just thought, okay, I'm laying on the floor and my shoulder's out. Put the shoulder back in. All right, I'm still on the floor. Get back in the ring. Okay, you're in the ring. What's the next spot? You know, so you just kind of, you know, go step by step. You don't really think of like the grander picture of, just don't panic, right? And I think that comes down to like experience. And obviously I was very lucky to be in there with Seth as well, who didn't panic either. So kind of trusting yourself and being able to get through it. And a lot of people, when things go off track in a match, they get worried because they think everyone watching knows, but nobody knows, because nobody knows the plan. Nobody knows what you're planning on doing, what you want to do, how you want to get to this spot. So you don't have to stick to this plan. And people like beat themselves up. I forgot to do this spot, or I skipped this bit. And it's well and good having a plan, but what you do is what counts.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, my advice to like younger wrestlers is don't worry so much about like hitting these spots or like remembering things or making mistakes. Just like trust yourself, and fans are very forgiving. Like you can see some of the stuff in the ring. Like you can see guys calling spots to each other. Fans don't care. And like we have this like unreal show that like completely exposes the business, which I'm not sure I agree with or not. Like I know it probably brings in more fans. Like I've become a fan of Formula One from watching Drive to Survive, which kind of like shows you like the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So I understand it brings in new fans and it gives people more respect for what we do, but it also takes away a little bit of that magic. So I'm torn because I am old school and I was kind of trained the old school way, but I'm working in the new era. So I know I need to find that balance. And even like talking about this, I feel awkward. And I don't think I've ever even spoken this candidly about like giving away kayfabe. But I guess you got to change with the times, right?
The other what if in that match is if you change the finish, do you ever become WWE champion? Right? Because you won that night. It's a short run, but you were the champion.
Yeah.
If you change the finish, who knows where it goes from there if you ever win the title?
Yeah, I could have like been let go 6 months later before I even came back. Like, yeah, who knows? One thing that does bug me is that some people say like, oh, that guy's injury prone. Like one major injury in my whole career, like 24 years. Apart from like a broken jaw, which like is a complete accident.
Sure.
Like that's it, you know?
Why do people think this?
Yeah, it's just...
And look, they're both accidents too.
But,
both injuries are accidents.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. But like, yeah, people can think what they want, but...
It's not like you were running the ropes and you tore your hamstring or something. Like,
I've torn plenty of muscles, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think we were going to talk about the Edge cage match.
Sure, yeah.
So...
Yeah, WrestleMania 39.
Yeah, so 3 weeks before WrestleMania 39, I get asked to do impromptu. I'm a Raw performer, but they say, "Hey, can you come to SmackDown and do a match on SmackDown?" It's like a 6-man tag or something. And I remember I grabbed Cruz del Toro in a front face lock, and I stepped backwards to tag Damien. And as I stepped backwards, I tore my calf. I said, "You got." At first, I thought like Cruz was like messing with me, and he slapped me in the back of the leg. And then I looked down, and his arms were around my waist.
Oh,
I'm like, "Oh no, this is bad." So I tagged out, and like I'm on the apron, I'm stretching it a little bit, and I said, "Doesn't feel too bad, but I got to get back in there." So I'm like doing the math in my head: how long to WrestleMania? How long to WrestleMania? How long does a calf injury take to repair? And
while you're on the apron,
yeah, and then I finished the match, and I probably made it worse by finishing the match because, like, you know, put more stress through the tear. And people don't know, like, I was on like one of those little scooters for 3 weeks, and even we done a promo like 2 weeks before Mania on Raw, and the way we done it, I think Edge was in the ring, and they just brought me out on the stage. But like we shot around it where I kind of like limped out, just stood there and like stood on the stage going, well, I'll see you in 2 weeks at WrestleMania, whatever. And then like they killed the lights and like hobbled back and then got on my little scooter in the backstage. So like there's lots of like little injuries that like all the boys are dealing with all the time and we're trying to like work around.
Did you know you'd get to WrestleMania 39?
No, and there was like a conversation with Bruce like the next week saying like, it was actually right before that promo that we were doing. That's, hey, can you make it? It's 2 weeks away. I said, dude, I can make it. Just trust me. I can make it. Like, so I'm not missing WrestleMania. So
how confident were you?
I was not that confident. But no, I was at the Performance Center every day. We have a great medical team down there. And really, like, the guys down there got me, like, right. It was right on the limit. And the day of, like, I was strapped up. I couldn't really, like, flex my foot the way it was strapped. And it did get helped by the fact that it was a cage match and I didn't have to move around so much. And actually, a similar thing happened this year at WrestleMania with Dom. Was I had gotten beat up by the Judgment Day. I think I'd been out for a week. Dom was having a match against Penta on Raw. It's like 3 weeks before Mania. I do the run in, I come back, I beat up JD, I beat up Dom, I throw him over the top rope, and I'm in street clothes, right? I'm going to do the dive over the top rope, but I'm in street clothes. So as I'm running, like I wear like baggier t-shirts, and I go, oh, I haven't done the dive in a while. And I wonder, is this t-shirt going to like get snagged on the top rope? And am I going to like get stuck like Top Dollar, you know? Right? And this is what's going through my head as I'm running against the ropes. So as I'm coming back, I see the boys outside the ring. And I said, I got to jump extra high and I got to tuck faster than I normally tuck because I normally kind of extend a little bit. But I tucked early. And as I tucked, I popped a rib, right? In the air, not like on the landing or when they caught me, like in the air, I popped a rib. And I remember like the boys caught me great, put me down. I stood up, I fired up like this and I said, fuck, I popped a rib, fuck. Oh no. And then again, same situation, 3 weeks to Mania. How long does a rib take to heal? Shit, you know? So then now it was, again, just this last WrestleMania, it was race against time to get the rib. Problem with the rib recovery, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
There's no like rehab. You can't do anything really. So it was kind of touch and go. And that was kind of a factor into why the match was changed to a street fight because it was able to, I was able to like rely more on the toys, like the weapons and stuff than have to actually, you know, wrist locks and twists and rolls and stuff like that.
So did you wrestle hurt?
Yeah. But just, everyone wrestles hurt. Everyone's dealing with some issue.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not like, you know, trying to put myself over for being some badass. Like everyone wrestles hurt, but a lot of people don't hear these little stories of like the little issues that we go through to get out there, you know?
In that WrestleMania 39 match, was there ever a point where the match was about to be called off? Because you were bleeding a ton.
So me and Edge had spoke before the match and I said, hey dude, like if you want to throw the ladder at me, like there was a spot where he was going to like hit me with the ladder. I said, dude, if I've got my back to you, just throw it and hit me in the back. If I turn, like just hit me with it. So I'd still got my back and he starts throwing it, but I guess I turned at the wrong moment. And then no problem, I'll just put my hands up and block it. But it's a ladder, it's not a chair. So like the rungs were here and here, and it just went right through my hands. And in that moment, my brain couldn't understand why it was still coming towards me because my hands were up. I was like, what's going on here? So I just went, and it hit me. I was like, oh, that stung, but it's fine, you know? So I'm just selling on the ring. And then referee Sean Bennett comes over and he goes, buddy, you okay? I said, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, what day is it? I said, it's WrestleMania, dude. I said, you sure you're okay? I said, yeah. He said, dude, you're carved open. I'm like, don't worry, it's fine. Says, they're telling me we're going to stop the match if you don't get treatment. I'm like, don't stop the match, I'm fine. Says, they're bringing the doc into the cage. So I crawl over to the edge of the ring where the door is for the cage, right? So now the doctor's trying to get in the door, but the door's locked, right? They open the door. Then she goes, oh, she left her medical bag over because she didn't realize it was so bad, right? And they needed to staple me up. So then she has to go back out the door, which is on ramp side, around the cage over to the bell keepers to get the medical kit. She goes back in the door and there's a camera here. Now, I don't know if the red light's on or not. Now, thankfully, Edge, super experienced, realizes there's an issue. So he goes outside, keeps the cameras busy by like looking under the ring, taking out toys, throwing them in the ring.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the doctor's going, dude, you're split open. Like, we got to staple it. I said, all right, well, what are you waiting for? Staple it. She goes, it's going to hurt. I said, it's WrestleMania, doc. But at this point, then the camera like comes around and it's here. And I guess they were just shooting, but it wasn't live. But I can't see if the red light's on or not because like I'm looking at the doc. So I start saying to her, staple it, staple it. Because I go into demon character, right? To where now the doc, Michelle, just goes like, she gets scared because she'd never seen me perform as a demon before. It had been a while and she was like new to the company. So we always kind of giggle about that. But yeah, the staples went in. It was finished the match. It was fine. Staple it, and I'm sure
it's like
that
The Exorcist.
I'm sure that footage like lives somewhere, and like maybe like if you talk to the office, they can find it. We can put it in here because I've never seen it myself. But like I remember like looking at it going, staple it.
What hurt more, the ladder to the head or the staples?
Neither of them really hurt at all.
What?
Yeah. In that moment, like nothing hurts. If something hurts in the ring, like like that's a serious injury. Like if you really feel it. Most stuff you don't feel like till the next day. Man.
Has this ever happened to you? Where there's a show or an event that you want to watch, but it's only available on a certain streaming service, and you can't believe how much a subscription to that streaming service costs? NordVPN has you covered. With NordVPN, you just log in and change your virtual location to somewhere where it costs less to sign up, and boom, there you go. You can do it from any device, your laptop, phone, or tablet. And the great thing about NordVPN is it's more than just a VPN now. With their next-gen antivirus, NordVPN warns you about potential scams and protects you against fake online stores. Next-gen antivirus scans your files for malware and deletes the dangerous ones. It also blocks phishing sites, trackers, and even scam phone calls. It's like having your own personal bodyguard. NordVPN is now your all-in-one app for digital security. Not bad for the price of a cup of coffee every month. This is an exclusive deal that you can only get by going to nordvpn.com/CVV. So head there now to take advantage of it before it's gone. Plus, there's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/CVV.
So we talk about you being in Japan. I'm so curious because you signed with New Japan in 2006.
Yeah.
TNA's red hot at that point. Was there ever interest from TNA or WWE at that point before you signed with New Japan?
No, not before then. I had been wrestling in England for about like 5-6 years. And I'd kind of like liken it to like a fishbowl. Like, you can only grow as much as the pond is.
Yeah.
And I figured like I'd been wrestling here. I'd wrestled all the guys in the UK that like I was learning from. I said, I need to like take this to the next level and really learn. So an Irish guy obviously has an aunt in Boston. So I said, I'm just going to go and stay with my aunt in Boston for 3 months and like do the indies around there. So I start doing the indies around there. I get picked up by a scout, Dave Marquez, who's involved in NWA Hollywood. And he was involved in the Inoki Dojo in California at the time. He said, hey, why don't you come out and train with us for a couple of weeks? So I went out and I trained with those guys for a couple of weeks and kind of like just to like learn a little bit of the Japanese style. And by happenstance, one of the days, the president of New Japan had came to, I guess, scout somebody else that was training at the dojo. And I was in the match with the person that they were scouting. And after this scouting mission, they came to me and they said, hey, would you like to go to Tokyo and train at the dojo for 3 months as a young boy? So I said, of course, obviously. So I went to New Japan for 3 months. The idea was just to train and be a young boy and learn. And after about 3 weeks, Liger came to me and said, he was the booker at the time. He said, hey, we're going to give you your first match. I was like, oh, wow. So that's like how like the New Japan stuff started. And that's really like what like jump-started my career there, like, you know. So I was very happy in New Japan. Probably about 5 years into that run, when Dixie was in charge of TNA, there was like a little bit of communication, like of the idea of going. But for me, like, if I was going to leave New Japan, I was only going to go to WWE. Like, TNA was cool. And like at the time, there was Kurt there, it was Chris Daniels, Samoa Joe. Like, it was
Sting.
Yeah, it was
there.
Yeah, it was an incredible roster. But for me, the idea of leaving New Japan, I wasn't ready to leave. I still like had stuff I wanted to achieve, and so yeah, I kind of toyed with the idea, but I was never really serious. All through this period, probably about 4 years in a row, WWE had approached me, but I didn't feel like it was the right move, because this was it was still FCW. It wasn't NXT. And I felt like I'm not going to fit in there. I'm still kind of on the rise in New Japan. I'm still learning. I'm still like getting better. Like, why like cut my wings off, you know? So I wanted to stay in New Japan. And so they kind of WWE had came knocking maybe 3 or 4 times, and I turned it down. But when they finally came, when I was like 33, I kind of realized, nah, now's the time.
It's easy to look back now with hindsight at how big the Bullet Club was. But when you were forming it, did you realize the implications it might have?
No, not at all. I just wanted to have fun. And originally Bullet Club it wasn't supposed to be Bullet Club. It was supposed to be just me and Fale. Like, so I'd been a babyface for 6 years in New Japan. They wanted to turn me heel. And that was one thing then that made me stay in New Japan. So I was kind of thinking about, oh, maybe it's time to try WWE now. I've done everything in New Japan that I felt like I could possibly achieve. But then the idea came, hey, would you like to turn heel? I was like, oh, this is something new. Now I can be a heel in New Japan. I can learn more. So that's kind of what made me stay. And like within like 2 weeks of having the conversation of putting me and Fale together, it was Gato's idea, who was the booker at the time, said, hey, why don't, like, you're always with Carl Anderson, you're always with Tama, the 4 of you guys are always together, why don't we make you guys a group, come up with a name? So I kind of went to the 3 guys and said, hey, do you guys have any ideas for the name? They said, nah, you deal with that, dude, that's your department. So I went home, brainstormed a couple different names, landed on Bullet Club. Once I turned heel, I think it was crazy because we had so much heat. I remember like Fale would be carrying me out on his shoulders at Corrigan Hall, and you kind of have to like walk through the crowd, and there'd be like fans hitting me in the leg, like punching me in the leg, like giving me dead legs. And then there was fans, so many fans were calling the office to complain about Prince Devitt cheating to win matches, that they had to set up a separate phone line to take complaints. Because, you know, there's so much respect, and I guess like it wasn't something that was done commonly or at least recently in New Japan. With,
sounds like great heel work.
Yeah. So, that was like lightning in a bottle. And it was such a short run for me in Bullet Club. But like I look back on it like super fondly.
And that logo is iconic.
Yeah.
Like it's right up there with like the NWO logo or the DX logo.
Yeah.
That shirt got made by every indie wrestler, every podcast.
Yeah.
Like it's just iconic.
Yeah. I remember when I went to NXT, I was living in Orlando, and there was like a Bullet bar in the downtown area, and they had like ripped off the shirt, and I'm like in the bar like looking, and that's like my IP, like, yeah. And like the owner of the bar was like, oh yeah, this is our bar, like, welcome.
Like, well, here's a cease and desist.
But he had no idea that like
that he owes you money. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
And it's iconic still to this day.
Yeah. But look, that's not down to me. That's down to everyone that was involved in Bullet Club, like from AJ, who came in after me, took it to the next level, then Kenny, Adam, like, you know, everybody done such an incredible, the books, like it was, it's a cool memory for sure.
Do you prefer working as a babyface or as a heel?
It's 50-50 really. Like, it's like anything, you kind of get like accustomed to doing something that then like you want to change. And I'd been babyface for so long in New Japan, I wanted to be a heel. Then when I came to WWE, they were like, no, you're a babyface. I'm like, cool, no problem. I like learned how to be a WWE style babyface, which is very different than being like a New Japan babyface. So that was like a learning curve as well. But then like I'd done that so long that, not that it became boring, but it just felt like the same pattern over and over again, to the point where like I just want to do something different. And the opportunity came to turn heel in WWE, and it was super fun. I loved it.
I think it's hard to have perspective on this because we're in it right now, but what do you think the legacy of the Judgment Day will be when it's all said and done? Because you've had so many different members, different leaders, different storylines, but what do you think the legacy will end up being?
I think it's underappreciated for sure right now, but I think the legacy, it's going to go down as one of the greatest factions in history. Just for how it's able to change and evolve and have, you know, when they bring in different people, it kind of changes the mood of the group. And I think it's still got like a long lifespan left. And that's credit to like all the different people that have been involved. And I feel like every different person who's came in is like very, very different. And they kind of add their own little spice or their own little flavor to it. And that's what kind of keeps it fresh.
Is it true the Judgment Day was going to be called Street Trash? Or there was a moment where it was?
No. So that came from, there was a program with Gunter, with either, I think it was Gunter and Dom, and he referred to us all as Street Trash. And we said, let's just lean into it. And like, we're the Judgment Day, we're Street Trash. And we kind of just leaned into it. And, but it didn't really catch on. That was, yeah. People remember like Bullet Club and the Demon. They don't remember like Street Trash, you know? It's not all like home runs, you know?
What was the original idea for creating the Demon?
Original idea was I had recently turned heel. I was against Ibushi in the Tokyo Dome, which is like, you know, huge venue. And I like to think about the live experience. Especially at that time, I was more focused on like the live experience for fans than like what was seen on TV. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, this is a baseball stadium and there's people paying money that are like, you know, 200 meters away that are like looking at like two little tiny guys in the ring. And I'm against like the shining white light of Ibushi. So I want to be the darkness.
What's the longest amount of time you spent in makeup putting on the Demon?
Probably 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yeah.
And then how long to take it all off?
Longest, I'll tell you a story, right? So we done like a photo shoot at the Performance Center. It was like a test paint and a photo shoot at the Performance Center. This was when I was in NXT. And we done it on a Friday. And the paint team had came and they painted me up. But then like I was going to train in it, do photos, work around, make sure it doesn't come off on the canvas and stuff like that. So after we'd done it, like the team had gone, but they also didn't leave the remover, which you need a very specific remover because it's alcohol-based painted. Like I can stand in the shower like for an hour and it'll just be perfectly on me.
Wow.
You kind of have to sweat it out through your pores, and then you need like an alcohol solution to like break it down. So like it really like chaffs your skin. Like you'll be really red after it and stuff. But they'd gone. But this is a Friday night in Orlando, and my sister's getting married on Saturday in Ireland. So I have to catch a red eye at 10 o'clock from Orlando to Ireland. So, you know, we finished the shooting at 6 o'clock, run back to my apartment. I'm showering, I'm scrubbing my face. I get out of the shower and I look in the mirror. There's like there's still like teeth and everything here. There's a big eye on my back. I'm like, I gotta go to the airport. Like my sister's getting married. So I get dressed. There's still Demon on me here. I've got it like mostly off my face. fly to Ireland, land, run home to my parents' house, get the suit on, like put this shirt and tie on, and I go to the church. But like little did anyone know, like if I had to unbutton my shirt, there's still like the demon under there.
The demon in church.
I know, yeah. Well, thankfully she got married by a humanist. She's very like, out there a little bit. And so it wasn't actually a church, and it wasn't like per se a religious ceremony. So that like gives me a little bit more.
When did you finally get it off?
Yeah, next couple of days. Like,
That's wild.
Yeah. Early days, like, when the paint was like, another weird, I've never told this story before either. We done the demon in Saudi Arabia. I wrestled Andrade. And we've promoted the match. We fly to Saudi. I'm getting painted. And I go, this paint doesn't feel like the normal paint. What's going on? Like, and I asked the girl that was doing it at the time. I said, "Is this the normal paint? Like, doesn't feel right." She goes, "Oh no, they told me I couldn't bring the normal paint because it has alcohol in it. Alcohol's not legal here." I said, "Did anyone not think of telling me? Because I'm the one that has to wrestle in this." And she goes, "Oh no, but I have a solution." I'm like, "What's the solution?" "Well, if we use hairspray all over you, it kind of sets it a little bit more." So I go, "Okay, well, you're the experts." So they paint me, they cover me in hairspray. It's also like Saudi Arabia outdoors, so it's like 100 degrees, which is like whatever Celsius, like 38 or something like that. So pretty much by the time I've gotten to the ring, it's starting to come off, right? So then we do the match. It's a physical match. I'm sweating like crazy. I start as the demon. I end as Finn in the match, right? No problem.
Yeah.
So we get through the match. No injuries. Fantastic. That's all I'm happy about, right? I'm watching, I think later on in the show was Undertaker Goldberg. And I'm watching a match in the backstage, like in a hallway. I'm like looking at the screen. And I'm like, did someone like hit a smoke machine in here? Like it felt like it was being smoked up, like on the entrance. But it wasn't. It was just my eyes. Because what had happened was the hairspray had ran into my eyes and burnt my retinas.
Oh, man.
And I went blind. And I was essentially blind, where I had to be linked by the guys brought out of the building, linked by the guys that carried up the steps onto the charter. I couldn't see on the flight. We landed in Germany to refuel the plane. The doc had to leave the plane, go to a chemist, get some special medicine to heal my eyes. And then we flew when we landed in San Francisco, 15 hours later. And it was just starting to unblur. But I guess all that hairspray had irritated my iris so much that I couldn't see. That was probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me in wrestling.
Man.
Yeah.
Was there a point where you're like, am I ever going to see again?
Yeah, I'm on the airplane, taking off out of Saudi. I can't see. I'm like, oh, no, is this it?
Good thing it didn't happen during the match.
What?
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I know.
Man.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the demon feels different now versus when you created it?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I feel like I'm still learning the demon, and I sometimes wish I'd done it more often, because I really wrestle differently and I move differently and I feel different and I emote differently when I put that paint on. And I guess it's similar to a luchador. When they put their mask on, they become that luchador character.
Yeah.
And even Damien will tell you this, that I'm Fergal, but when we're in the locker room, I can't even sync at a match until I put my gear on. So he says, "Hey, you got any ideas for the match?" And it's dude, I'm still in my clothes. Let me get my gear on and we'll figure it out then. So he knows oh no, he needs to turn into Finn. He needs to put on his gear before he can think about the match, right? So, yeah. But it's similar with the demon. I can't really turn into the demon until it's on, till the paint's on. So when there's a long period of time between doing the demon, sometimes I think it's been 2 or 3 years sometimes, that like I kind of forget the movements, and then it's very new to me. Once I get into the ring and the bell rings, a lot of the, like that like body movements or like body language that's different than Finn, it's just coming to me in the moment. And I wish that if I was doing it more often, I would be able to like lean more into it and maybe portray the demon better, or at least more differently and more uniquely than Finn. But yeah, I do like doing it.
Were we ever close to getting the demon versus the Fiend?
Yeah, I think that was certainly in the works, and something that, you know, I always think about and look back on and say, like, I've been very lucky to have had almost every match that I've ever wanted to have, but that's one that like I didn't get to have. And we almost got Sister Abigail versus the Demon,
right?
And Wyndham had gotten sick a couple of weeks before, so that match, actually a couple of days before, and we had to switch that match out like short notice.
But I mean, what a match that ended up turning into. You versus AJ Styles.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and I think that was like our first match ever. AJ is someone who like I've looked up to my whole career, someone who I've admired, and kind of, you know, you can kind of look up to people, but not really relate to them. Like, you know, I've always looked up to John Cena as like, you know, the pinnacle of being like a WWE superstar, but I don't really relate to him in the sense of our journeys have been slightly different. The way we work is different. But like AJ, I feel like we're very, very similar. I was just like a couple of years behind him. So someone who like I've always like admired and aspired to be like. So getting to go in the ring with AJ that night was absolutely amazing.
Especially with like no build up.
Yeah.
And it like, didn't need a build up.
Yeah, it didn't need a build up. But it would have been fun. I always look back and think like, man, we could have done so much more. You know, and if we had had more time to prepare our plan, that was kind of like just thrown together on the day.
Hey, quick timeout. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Summer is here, my favorite season, but I feel like there's always a lot going on and you're often being pulled in a lot of different directions. And I know that sometimes juggling all of that can be tough and can lead to feelings of overwhelm and counting down the minutes until things just calm down. Taking time for yourself is super important, and therapy can help people better understand their needs, feel more confident setting boundaries, and create a version of summer that actually feels good. If you're ready to take that first step, BetterHelp can help you get started. BetterHelp has over 30,000 therapists that have served over 6 million people globally. A short questionnaire matches you with a therapist who fits your needs and preferences, and if your match doesn't feel right, you can switch therapists at any time. No hassle. You don't have to say yes to everything this summer. Find support in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/CVV. That's betterhelp.com/CVV.
When you close your eyes, what's the moment that you go to? What's the moment you think of?
In wrestling, there's two moments. One, when I lost the NXT title to Samoa Joe in the house show in Lowell. And I remember taking the 1, 2, 3 and laying in the ring and just kind of looking over to the people in the front row. And there was almost like a silence and like a shock of disbelief. I was like, what has happened? What have we witnessed? And it just felt like really organic and like no one saw it coming. And being able to like share that moment with Joe, who like kind of took me under his wing and like showed me how to fight. Like, 'cause I was always like a wrestler and like smooth and everything was like deliberate. But like he really showed me like how to like plant my feet and fight from underneath. And getting to like learn from him for 2 years in NXT was like so instrumental in my development in my career. So I always look back at that, being able to like share that moment with Joe. The other one is very recent. And it was in Belfast against Punk. And just like the reaction from the crowd that night, and got to have my family there in the front row, like 25 people.
You get
Like,
emotional. Why does it make you emotional?
Because there's so many ups and downs in this business. And sometimes you think like you've done it all and like it's never going to get better. And then it somehow did, you know. And it was Punk is someone like I'd never really interacted with much. I'd actually only met him one time in my life at Samoa Joe's wedding. Like, this is back in like 2002, 2003 maybe. And then he had left WWE when I had signed with NXT. So we'd never really had any interactions. And I'll go on the record as saying, like, I'd heard horror stories about Punk being this asshole, being difficult to deal with, being, you know, big-headed guy that no one wants to work with. And when he came back to WWE, it could not have been the opposite. I met this guy who was humble, polite, wanted to work with people. And I'm pretty sure he went to the office and he said he wanted this match. Like, I don't think it came from the office. I think it came from Punk. And the way like it unfolded, like that match could have been anywhere. You know, it could have been in any random city in the United States, but it was in Belfast, like my home country. It was my mom's birthday the day before, so like she was there, and we'd done the match. The crowd reaction was unbelievable.
The crowd was so loud.
Unbelievable. We brought back the old music. It was so fun. I was like enjoying it. I wasn't like thinking about the match. I was just like living it. It was like easy to work with Phil. It was like we're just like having fun. We're talking to each other out there. It was great. Like we'd done the match 1, 2, 3. I leave him in the ring. I walk to the back. That was so cool, man. That was so cool. And then like I hear him like, "Hey, where's Finn?" I can hear him on the mic. And then like the producers are running because I'm like toweling off and taking my tape off and stuff. Oh fuck, that was so cool. I'm gonna get to see my family now. It's cool. And then say Punk's calling you out in the ring. It's like I walk back out there. I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna say? Shit. Like I don't really like doing promos and stuff. You know, I don't like speaking in general. Like I'd rather just like rely on my work, you know.
Yeah.
And he gave me the microphone, left the ring. I got to sing my mom like happy birthday in front of fucking everybody. It's the fucking coolest thing, man.
Yeah. Those are such special moments.
Yeah.
And you clearly hold this in such high regard.
Yeah.
But then you think like, can it be replicated? Like it's a one-of-a-kind moment, right?
I know. And then getting like a couple of weeks later to do it again in Chicago with him, it was like tit for tat, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it meant as much to him in Chicago as it did to me in Belfast.
Yeah.
I think like we'll share that bond for a long time.
How can you not be romantic about pro wrestling?
Yeah, I know, man.
It's such a beautiful thing.
Like people say this shit's fake, man. It's the furthest thing from fake in the world.
Yeah. What's the mindset you have about wrestling now? Like we talked earlier about like it's changed. Do you think about wrestling into your 50s?
I'll wrestle as long as the people have me, dude.
They'll have you forever.
Yeah.
No one's telling you to stop.
Yeah, no, I don't want to stop. And like I always think like, because I'm 44 now, like, and I look around the locker room, like a lot of the guys could be my kids, you know? And I still feel like that kid. And like I still feel like the new kid in the locker room. And I feel very lucky that I've got to do so much. And like guys will come up to me and they'll ask me for advice. I'm like, dude, like, you're doing incredible. Like, you're in WWE, you're a star. Don't ask me for advice. Like, look in the mirror. Look what you're doing. So, yeah, I'll just do it as long as they'll have me.
You do a certain pose in photos.
I'm glad you're changing the subject because I don't want to cry anymore, dude.
But I appreciate your openness and thank you for that. What's the story behind this pose you do in photos?
It's a very, it was a spontaneous moment. So we were talking about space earlier, and I'd recently moved to Florida, and Kennedy Space Center is just down the road.
Yeah.
So I went to Kennedy Space Center with one of my buddies, and he said, Ferg, take a picture in front of the rocket. You know, there's a big giant, like, Atlantis rocket or something. And I was just, like, instinctive. I was standing in front of the rocket, and I was like, what does, like, an astronaut do? And I just went like that. And, like, that was the first one, and I posted it, and I guess, like, a lot of people, like, kind of, like, laughed at it and caught on. I was, well, what type of pose is that? And I just started, like, doing it from then. But that's, like, how it started. It was complete happenstance.
And now it's the Finn Balor pose.
Yeah. And, like, I stopped doing it when I turned heel. Like, I stopped doing it. Like, no, I'm going to be a bad heel. And I wanted to, like, change everything. And that's why, like, we changed the music and changed the gear and everything. But that's where the pose came from.
People were so mad when your music changed.
Yeah.
Like, they loved that song. And now they're super happy that it's back.
Yeah.
But what was the reason behind the music change?
First of all, I think the music, the secondary music, the heel music version, I think it's like an underrated banger. Like, it's cool. And I haven't actually told anyone this, but when we were putting the match together, the music together, I was going back and forth with the music department, and they'd, like, give me a couple samples. I was like, no, it needs to hit more. And I kept saying, like Samoa Joe's music, because, like, I loved how Samoa Joe's music was. You know, that, like, heavy beat. But the idea was, like, the babyface music, like, everyone, like, is so attached to it that they didn't want to be walking out there as a heel to that music, because they're still remembering the babyface, and they're still going to want to do the thing. So I wanted to, like, take it away. And it was the same, like concept going back to New Japan, like, take away the babyface, squeaky clean, good guy, like cover myself head to toe in paint. So sometimes in wrestling, you're playing a part. And going back to what I was saying earlier about, like, I'm not performing for me, I'm performing for the people, and I'm performing for the office. And if they want me to be a heel, I don't want the crowd to be cheering me. I want them to be booing me. So that's why we changed the music. Then eventually I changed the gear. And you just need to kind of, like, adapt and change and try different things. And I really loved, like, wrestling, like, in the long pants and sneakers. It was great, especially, like, it was on an early match, because I could just put on a t-shirt and, like, drive back to the hotel and get changed there, and wouldn't really, like, bat an eye versus, like, a guy in his underpants and, like, high boots, you know.
Technically, was it different, wrestling boots versus street shoes?
I couldn't believe that I hadn't wrestled in street shoes my whole life, because, like, there's so little technology, like, in a wrestling, like, amateur wrestling shoe. Like, it's just basically like a sock with, like, a little bit of a sole on it.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, the support they give you, and you know, the comfort and the cushioning, like, it was so much easier. I'm walking around backstage, because there's a lot of these arenas are huge. You might get, like, 20,000 steps just in a day, just walking around the arena before the show.
Yeah.
So my feet were, like, not as painful anymore and stuff like that.
You keep posting this video and edits of this video of JD's head slamming into a locker.
Yeah.
Is there a certain version you love?
Well, I'm kind of, there's the Tottenham version, which is, like, my favorite football team, where it's like Tottenham, which obviously I love that one.
The 20th Century Fox one is so good. His head's bashing on every beat.
Yeah, and I must, like, say thank you to all the fans who, like, sent those edits, because none of those were made by me. Like, the concept caught on, someone made one, I posted it, and then it kind of, like, you know, caught steam, and, like, people started, like, making themselves. So, like, credit to the internet and the internet wrestling community. Like, those guys are so creative, and, like, I love when they send me, like, edits like that, videos like that, like, pictures, drawings, anything that's like creative, like I love that. And like if people can get to like express themselves through wrestling, like with their art, it's like I love that. And also like I feel like this AI art like gets a lot of heat. But like I'm all for it. Like it's a tool. Like use it. Like sparingly, obviously, but like if you can make something fun that you can't physically make, like with your hands in a pen, like just do it.
How does JD feel about that edit?
I'm sure he likes it. I'm sure he likes it.
You posted a Finske picture the other day.
Oh yeah,
that was so funny.
Yeah, that's actually an old one. That's a guy who I've found online who does a lot of different edits, and he's a super creative guy. I'll give him credit. And yeah, I love seeing all those things. Like I think like the human brain and imagination is like so beautiful, and I think that's why I like the history, because I'm able to like use my imagination, and I like thinking about the future and like going back to Interstellar, like thinking about your imagination, like what's out there.
Yes.
And like just being able to create something that I wouldn't have thought of. I think like that's the most valuable thing in the world, like to be able to create something like from nothing. Like what is an idea? You know, like where does it come from? Like, is it out there and it just pops in? Is it there all the time and it has to grow?
Create it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by that.
We'll get back to the episode in just a second, but you ever have those days where everything just seems to be clicking? You slept well, you worked out, you ate well, you're feeling good, and then you catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror or on a video call and you're like, man, I look exhausted. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a combination of a bunch of different things, but I can tell you it's helped me. It's this, the Great from Caldera Lab. What I like about it is how simple it is. No complicated skincare routine, no lineup of products. It's just one product that I use in the morning and then again before bed. It takes just a few seconds. And honestly, the biggest difference is that my skin looks more like how I feel. I feel great, it looks great. I look healthier, I look more refreshed, even on days when life gets busy. You've heard me talk about Caldera Lab before, but if there's one product that I've been using consistently, it's the Great. It's the one product I find myself reaching for day after day. And if you want to look and feel like the best version of yourself, and if you're looking for just one simple product that actually makes a difference, it's the Great. Go to calderalab.com/Chris and use the code Chris for 20% off your first order. That's calderalab.com/Chris.
What do you think is your greatest feud in your career?
God damn, that's a good question. Probably Joe.
A lot of history with Joe.
Yeah. Like, I certainly wrestled him like every night for like 3 nights, 4 nights a week for a year and a half. What do you think is my best?
Joe, AJ, a lot of history with AJ, even if it's not within
but
WWE.
we didn't have many matches, which was the issue, you know.
But I think that like real wrestling fans know the history from New Japan.
Yeah, but history necessarily isn't a feud per se, right?
Sure.
Like when I'm thinking about a feud, I'm thinking about on-screen feuds, and maybe Bray. Like I wrestled Bray a lot on TV.
Yeah.
Dominic.
Definitely now, yeah.
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 But yeah, no. Probably myself, to be honest with you, because like I battle with myself every day. That was terrible. No, I'm not watching that back.
Is it Fergal versus Fergal? Fergal versus Finn? Fergal versus Finn versus the Demon?
Yeah,
triple threat.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but you'd have to ask other people what's the best, most important feud. I don't know.
How did you get a wrestling name that has an accent on it? Because I'm sure a lot of fans just type out Balor.
Yeah, I'll give credit to Robbie Brookside for that, because we'd come up with the name, and the name is, it's a very like tricky thing coming up with a new name because like there's no like emotional attachment to it. There's no affiliation to it. And the music too. Like when you get a new music, when you walk out there, you have no memories of the crowd reacting to it before. So it's all new, right? So you have no like emotional attachment to anything that's new, right? So that was with the music, but also with the name. But the name, my dad's name is Fintan to start with, right? So we shortened that. But also in Irish folklore and mythology, there's Finn McCool, which is kind of like the David character. And there is the Balor, the one-eyed demon king, which is kind of like the Goliath character. And Finn McCool slayed the demon, Balor, right? Plus, it was an abbreviation of my dad's name. So we put the two together, and that was the two sides of Finn. Finn McCool, one-eyed demon Balor.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget to put the
so the accent was, we had it actually up on the Titantron or NXT-tron, whatever you call it. We were up there, and it was before the show, and Robbie Brookside was looking at it, and he goes, you know, mate, you're Irish. Like, shouldn't there be like a little accent, like a fada on there? I said, oh, yeah, we could put one on there to make it look more Irish, you know? So we put the fada on the A.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And
it was just like an aesthetic kind of thing.
How are you feeling now? Like you talk about working through injuries all the time.
Yeah.
Is there anything on you now that hurts?
Nothing.
I love that.
Yeah, no, I feel great. Like, you know, aches and pains here or there, like, but I think it's really important to take care of your body and training smart. I feel like my training has probably been one of the things that's helped my longevity for sure, because a lot of guys train like bodybuilders, but like we're athletes and like we need to be moving. Like I don't want to be tight. Like there is an element of bodybuilding in my training, but most of it's like movement, agility, and like functional stuff. Like that I can translate in the ring.
Thank you so much for making this happen. This was a great conversation. I could talk to you all day.
Well, we can keep going if
Can
you
we?
want.
I feel like you need to get to SmackDown, no?
Oh,
easy. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need to do that?
Yeah.
Sure. Is there a favorite match of yours that you feel like doesn't get talked about enough?
Pete Dunne in NXT. I feel like that second run in NXT is like one of my favorite parts of my career. And I feel like it really, my style and COVID wrestling was a great combination.
Really?
Yeah, because
most people hated COVID wrestling.
Yes, and I'll explain this now, right? I can wrestle just like technically, which is what I like to do. But a lot of guys like to wrestle like for the audience and the cadence of the audience. So for example, block, yay, bump, duck, shoot, reverse, yay. And they need the crowd to get that. When you take the crowd out of that cadence isn't there. So if you do that same sequence, it doesn't have the same effect because you don't have the audience interacting with it.
Yeah, it's like a comedian telling jokes and there's no audience to laugh.
Exactly. So when we took the crowd out of it, well, when the crowd got taken out of it by COVID, I realized, oh, I'm wrestling now for the cameras, not for the people. So I'm going to wrestle so the camera can shoot in tight on me. So now I can like manipulate joints, show the details that I can't really show to the audience that are here because they're not going to see it when they're like, you know, in row Z, but there's no one in row Z. Now I'm just wrestling for the people watching on TV.
Yeah. So
we'll get close in shots. So I feel like I was able to then revert back to like my technical wrestling style, like that I would do like in New Japan and stuff, and kind of focus more on that. And that second run in NXT, being able to wrestle guys like Kyle, Pete, Adam, I was able to, you know, dive deeper into that style than I had in a long time, and like kind of wrestle the way I wanted to for the cameras. And I feel like that run was was one of my favorite runs of my career.
Did you take that run going back to NXT as a demotion? Like you were doing big stuff on the main roster, and now it's back to NXT.
No, not at all. It was a conversation I'd had with Triple H and Paul Heyman, and NXT was going live for the first time, and they needed some guys who were able to, deal with live TV. I feel like maybe things in WWE, I wasn't going like that. I was just kind of going like that. And the idea was, hey, why don't we just go back to NXT for like 3-4 months, like help out with the live show. We can rely on you in that sense. You can help some of the guys down there, and, we'll bring you back in like 3-4 months. I said, sounds great. And when I went down there, I think someone got hurt. And then they said, hey, can you be champ? I said, sure. And, that was only going to be for, a couple months. And then I think someone else got hurt, and it ended up being 2 years. But I look back on that like so fondly. And like, I really feel like I lucked out, because I was living in Orlando at the time. The Full Sail, or the Performance Center, was like 15 minutes from my house. Whereas the Thunderdome was like 2 hours drive.
Sure.
Right. So like I was just having to like drive 15 minutes as opposed to like 2 hours every week.
Yeah.
And then also the guys in NXT at the time were guys like that I really wanted to wrestle and kind of lent to that style that I wanted to do, like especially Pete. And I just feel very lucky that kind of all kind of came together in favor of me. And probably I benefited more out of COVID wrestling probably than anybody.
Are you not in Orlando anymore?
No, I'm in Miami now.
Oh, I used to live in Miami.
Yeah.
I was on TV in Miami for years.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever put it on Channel 7, you'll see Deco Drive, the old show I was on.
Oh, great.
Yeah. When you were a little boy growing up in Ireland, it's not like there were other Irish wrestlers in WWE you could like aspire to be like.
Yeah.
Look how many Irish wrestlers are crushing it now.
Yeah.
So I guess one is, who did you look up to when you were growing up? And two, how have you guys taken over now?
Well, I always looked up to 1, 2, 3 Kid, because it was the land of the giants, right? And he was like the smaller guy, and like by no means is he a small guy. He's like 6'2".
Isn't that so funny?
Right? Yeah. Right? He's 6'2", right? And when I met him in person, I was like, "Whoa, Sean!" But that was kind of like the guy who made me believe. Like when I was a huge fan from when I was like 5, 6 years old. Ultimate Warrior and the face paint, and my mom's running ribbons around my arms and stuff. But when I started to like develop as an athlete, playing like Gaelic football and soccer, like I had this kind of, I want to try this wrestling stuff, but I'm not sure if I can do it. But like seeing like X-Pac or 1, 2, 3 Kid, he was the kind of guy that gave me the belief that maybe I can do it, and watching him like succeed in the land of the giants was like a huge inspiration for me. So that was one person like in WWE land that I looked up to. But like as like I got like later into my teens, like Dynamite Kid was someone I'd like really admired in the ring. And then other guys like Danny Collins, Johnny Saint, like from all World of Sport stuff. But some of the Japanese guys like Hakushi, I loved for his gear. And then when like he came to WWE, obviously, and wrestled there. So it was, there was a lot of guys.
So how has it changed that like Irish wrestlers are now, you guys are just crushing it now?
I don't know. But there was no wrestling in Ireland, obviously, when I was like 18, and I used to read this wrestling magazine. I seen an advertisement for a school in England. I said, all right, as soon as I finish high school, I'm going to go train with them. And, having worked in the trains, I had like the free train pass on the boat. So I took the boat and the train. And funny story is, I'd sent like the check for the training camp to the coach, but that went to his house. But like, I'm a stupid kid, So I just go, oh, well, I'm just going to that address. That's where the training's at. So I showed up to his house for the first day of training, which was actually like 50 miles away from where the training. So I was like late for my first day training, like by like 9 hours. But yeah.
Did you like knock on the door and you're like,
no,
is there a wrestling school in there?
So I'm very like, I compartmentalize everything in life. For example, I don't look at where I'm going on a flight. I'll just look at, okay, the flight's at 7 a.m. I need to be at the airport at 6.
You don't look at the destination?
Don't look. And then when I get to the airport and I'm checking in, the lady will say, where are you going to? So let me check. I'm going to New York. Right? I'm the flight to New York, please. Right? So that's how I do everything. And that's kind of how I traveled to my first wrestling camp. And I figured, okay, I'm going to Ashford because that's where I sent the money to. And when I get to Ashford, I'll look up the street address. So I get to Ashford and I pull out the piece of paper at the time because there's no iPhones or anything, you know. And I pull out the piece of paper and I go, oh, the training center is in a different town. It's in Sittingbourne. So then I like go to this guy at the train station because there's no phones. You got to talk to someone and say, hey, I'm in the wrong town. I'm trying to get to Sittingbourne. He goes, oh, no, you got to take a train to here. You got to change there, and then you got to take that train back there. I'm like, oh, no.
You eventually made it that day?
I made it that day, but I missed the first day's training. I walked in as they'd ended class.
You'll never believe this story. Were they like, where the hell you been?
Yeah, they're like, oh, we didn't think you were going to show up. And I was with my buddy Paul, who I started out with and grew up with. And we showed up late and we thought you guys weren't turning up. And it was pretty interesting because we'd kind of been doing backyard wrestling and like schoolyard wrestling. And I actually recently found a DVD someone had like burned a couple of years ago of like a tape of me wrestling in the schoolyard. And it was on like the soccer pitch. I'd called it grassroots wrestling, right? Which I thought was a pretty cool name, right? But yeah, that first week of training, because I knew how to I was a pretty good athlete, and I'd kind of figured out the mechanics of the moves from like watching it so much. So I'd always like Razor's Edge or powerbomb my brothers like on the couch and stuff, and we would wrestle in school. So I guess the coaches could kind of see this, that I had the mechanics right. And they moved me from like the beginner's class to like the advanced class on like the third day of training. And I remember like on halfway through the third day, like I said to the coach, I said, hey, like, this is cool, but like, I want to learn like that stuff. Like, I want to learn how to really lock up. I want to learn how to like do a wrist lock and do the resting part. Yeah. This kind of stuff I can figure out later, but I want the details, like the stuff that I haven't tried myself. And actually, I always tell people this when they ask me for advice on training. I feel like that the most overlooked thing in training is the lockup. That, you start in a wrestling school and, first day will be, we'll do a lockup, a headlock, and maybe we'll run the ropes and bumps or something. But once you kind of do the lockup, that's it. Okay, I know how to do a lockup. And then we never train that again. But that's the most important thing in the match. It's the first thing everyone sees. That's your first like introduction to the people, right?
Yeah,
so if that's not looking good, you lose the people straight away. So I feel like that should be practiced over and over and over again. And I also feel like I've been very lucky in my career that I trained in England for, 5-6 years. But then when I went to New Japan, I was treated as a young boy. So I had to train again. So then I trained again, and I was pretty much a young boy for maybe 5 years until I kind of graduated. And then I didn't have to, per se, do all of the training for the last 3 years. But then when I went to NXT, again, I was treated like a new guy. And I had to train again. So I've probably like the most overtrained like wrestler.
But a lot of people would see that as a detriment. A lot of people would be insulted. I don't need to train again.
But why wouldn't you want to practice something that you love? And why wouldn't you want to get better at something that you love? And like, I don't think like Picasso like just painted one painting and said, That's it. He painted the same painting like 500 times, but he presented you one. But he probably like done it like 500 times in his studio or whatever. And I feel like that's the way like you should approach everything. Like just keep drilling it, keep like make it muscle memory, make it automatic. And that's how like you become in the moment in a match. You're not thinking about the moves. You're not thinking about, oh, what's next? Oh, what's this spot? It needs to be like repetition where you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're just flowing. And that's when you get to hear the people. That's when you get to like control the audience or go off script, right? And this thing about staying on script, well, we talked about it in the back, so we got to do it this way. But you got to do it for the people, not for you.
Yeah.
So not worrying about the mechanics of it allows you to listen more and feel more and emote more. And I feel like that's how you really take it to the next level.
Do you feel like compartmentalizing has helped you in your wrestling career? Because it's probably not just I'm traveling to this place at this time. It's you're compartmentalizing everything.
Yeah, it can be very overwhelming. Like you're on WrestleMania, there's millions of people watching, there's a massive audience, like all your bosses are super stressed that they want it to be like on point. Like, and if you start thinking about all of those things, it could be overwhelming. But what can I control? Okay, put my gear on. Okay, get warmed up. Like, don't think about everything. Just think about like one thing at a time. Yeah, next thing.
That's actually brilliant life advice. Right? John Cena said 3 words in an interview I'll never forget: control the controllable.
Yeah.
Because you can't control what other people say, what other people do.
Yeah.
All you can change and react to is how you react to that.
And actually that's something also that I feel like I've applied to myself in my training and like my physique, is that that's the only thing I can control, right? I don't choose who I wrestle. I don't choose how long the match is going to be. I don't choose where I'm wrestling, but I choose how I train and what I eat.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can control. And obviously I be professional and show up on time.
Sure.
And you know.
Yeah, your attitude.
Yeah. Right. They're the things I can control. What the office want to do with me or how the crowd want to react is like, that's on them. Mm-hmm. So I can't worry about that. I can just worry about me, and hopefully everything else by me investing in myself will then help everyone.
Yeah. Okay. I want to be super respectful of your time. Okay. Thank you so much for making this thing happen. I'm going to ask you the question I ask everybody at the end.
Yeah.
Because gratitude's a huge focus of my life.
Yeah.
I wake up every day, say out loud 3 things I'm grateful for, kind of sets the tone for the day.
Yeah.
Before I go to bed, my wife and I do the same thing. We list off 3 things we're grateful for. What are 3 things right now, Finn, that you're grateful for?
My family, meaning my wife and my family in Ireland, my health, and my job.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for making this happen.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Long time coming.
Long time coming.
We did it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right, thanks, mate. Appreciate you, brother.